Okay, so today is Friday, May 13th, 2016. Today's office hours. I have a question from Carol Costco, one of my teaching fellows, and her main question is about how to keep the attention of 5-year-olds who are very hyper and most likely have ADHD. So I have had several students who are probably in that camp. Um, One of the things that I try to be conscious of is kids who are more bodily aware, right? Kids who are hyper usually are very much in their bodies, can't sit still. First thing I do is if we're doing work at the keyboard, I make them stand. In fact, we both stand. I'll take away the bench. I said, okay, it's a standing lesson. I've had this one girl who was so obviously a dancer. Everything was a movement for her. She loved it. I mean, she'd basically dance as she played the piano and sang. So definitely try that. I would also try playing fast and loud. Fast and loud, especially for boys. For some reason, boys always want to be faster and louder. I think back to when I was a teenager trying to play my guitar as fast and as loud as possible, like super crazy arpeggios. There was this guy that I used to really look up to named Yngwie Malmsteen, and he was a heavy metal guitarist. He still is a heavy metal guitarist, but he basically took the Paganini violin concertos and put them on electric guitar. They just sounded fantastic, and that's what I wanted to sound like. That and Eddie Van Halen, that was just so funny. So I think it's just your the natural boy energy a lot of times. So how do we deal with that is trying to break it up into little small short activities and then switch locations. So I'll do something at the keyboard, then do something at the floor. The counting games that I explained in the activity on rhythm and stick notation. A lot of those fun words that some of them I borrowed from Michiko Yurko's Music Mind Games. That they all have kinesthetic hands, signals, which is really great for those kinds of kids. Also, solfeggio with the Kerwin hand signs, that is super good for getting kids who are hyper to actually do things that are going to help their conceptual as well as their technical knowledge, because they're actually learning how the song is going to go. So I'll introduce a new song first with solfeggio and be like, so, fa, mi, right? Re, mi, fa, re, do for honeybee or something like that. And we really get them to get that memorized in their hands and in their body before they even get to the keyboard, and make sure they're singing as well. Now, if you're familiar with the Dalcroze Eurythmics, this was a class that I took at NYU back when I was 18, and I hated it. It was like, I thought it was so silly. I felt like I was back in preschool. And here I am teaching preschool, preschool music. So, but basically what it was is the teacher would play a song and the students would have to walk across the room or move across the room, accentuating the beats of that song. Now, this is a great way also to introduce new time signatures. So when I first introduced the song Cuckoo, which is a 3/4 pulse, right? I have them walk to the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 while I'm playing it on the piano. You can also have them clapping patterns and saying the words or the solfeggio, anything to get it in their body. Let me see, what else did I have to think about that? You can also use a hand drum. Hand drums are a wonderful way to just break up the activity. So say you're playing it at the piano, try it there. Okay, come over here. Let's play and sing that song on the drum, all right? Make sure they're doing it accurately to the beat. What else can we do? If you have a ukulele or a dulcimer, as you can see in the lessons on applying the method to those instruments, how to set them up, it's really fun and easy for them to learn a song also on another instrument. This is great also because eventually you want them to understand that this is a movable do system, all right? If you stay too long in C position on the piano, they start to think that do is always C, right? Which in the beginning is a fine concept, and for most 4-year-olds, that's totally fine. But as a kid is getting older, like say 6, 7, you want them to start being able to play in higher positions, in G position. The next position would probably be G position. And a strum stick is in tune key of G. That makes a really nice way to move over. So using multiple instruments is a fun way to break up the activities, all right? So I guess in a nutshell, dealing with hyper kids, you really gotta have like maybe double the amount of activities planned for a normal, not normal, but a less hyper student, right? Because with the hyper students, you want to kind of try to keep moving with them every 3 minutes, 2 minutes, or even just go away and then come back, right? Sometimes I even have kids who are so hyper, they'll say, okay, we're going to go over here and we're going to do 5 jumping jacks, and they come back to the piano because they're just like bouncing off the walls. Let's see, what else do I have? Another idea. Oh, you can also step. Here's the thing that if you can print out the alphabet cards, the ones, or some of you actually purchased the alphabet cards from that link that I gave you in that lesson on the alphabet games. You can have them ordered on the floor, or have them put them in order on the floor, and then you can actually have them step to each note as you play it, so they're learning the song kind of through their feet. And if you have the luxury of getting one of those pianos that was featured in the movie Big with Tom Hanks, that's awesome for hyper kids, because then you can stomp on the piano to make a sound, right? I think those things are pretty pricey though. But you might be able to, I don't know. Nowadays, Amazon has everything. So check it out. See if you can find a walkable piano. And I've seen also gigantic rugs that are printed with the full music staff. And that is super fun too. Okay, so what else? Okay, so I guess to recap, let's say working with hyperactive kids, or kids who are on ADHD, or even kids who are on the autistic spectrum, kids who have problems modulating their voices sometimes, or controlling their bodies. Stand, put it in their body, do physical things like kinesthetic hand signs and Kerwin hand signs, play it fast and loud, and do it together. If you're doing peanut butter sandwich, you can say, okay, let's do it, and let's see who can do it faster, try, of course, accurately. Use other instruments, use a drum, and do the Dalcroze rhythmics of the walking across the room, walking to the beat of the song as they hear it continuously, because you're basically programming them. With those kinds of kids, getting them to read a method book, that has to come in super small chunks much later on. Now, another thing for that, I wouldn't even show them a method book for probably like the first 2 months, all right, until they can play at least 10 songs. When you go into the method book, a new thing that I've been doing is having them first copy. If they're 5 or 6 years old, they can definitely write and copy the passage, maybe even just 2, 3 measures or 4 measures, and just helping them copy the music is making them aware of all these minor distinctions of which line it's on, which staff it's on. I also started using a bunch of worksheets that I just have been giving out from a book. Actually, let me show you the book. Hold on. Oh, where is that book? Oh, it's right on my printer. Okay. So I actually found this book recently that I really like. It's Hal Leonard's Student Piano Library, Note Speller for Piano, Book 1. And basically it's all worksheets with really cute pictures. So like I can make a copy of one page and give one kid just this thing about notes on lines and spaces, right? Having them copy and draw and trace is, it's not exactly, that they're playing piano, but that's what part of the lesson is. You're actually learning these distinctions. So worksheets are really fun. They're really popular with a lot of my kids. And since I found this book, there's also other books out there. The Dr. Mozart series has a lot of those too. But so this one and the Dr. Mozart series are the ones that I've been using, and they've been really good. I haven't felt the need to make my own, because the layout of these books is pretty clean and clear, right? Really suitable for that age group. So in a future office hours, I think I want to talk about the whole aspect of laying out graphically the music notation. Now I've given you a whole bonus library of music, but at some point you're probably going to want to create your own, and I want to give you guys some guidelines on that. And I've heard it from a bunch of you who say you don't notate with software at all. So notating by hand is good, but it's a little bit slower. Just make sure you keep the master copy so that you can reuse it with all your other students, right? You don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over again, which for years I did. So, but you learn as you go. All right. So if you guys have any more comments or questions about this, please put them in the comments below. I also want to mention that one of the teaching fellows, Brett Crudgington, I hope you're watching Brett. Brett wrote a nice post about teaching boys with a lot of energy, and I'll see if I can find that link and put it in the comments too. All righty. So until next week, I'll see you soon.